Top TV, truth of the people.
Alright, just in time for Fact Check Live on Top TV. After taking a 2-week break from your screens, we are back, bigger and better, like we never left, always on the trajectory of bringing you up to speed on what has to do with politics, policies and governance, and just to mention, maybe politics. So what happened to the Uhuru Ruto romance, from wearing the same ties and shirts to having heated exchanges in public, and also calls for DP to resign ahead of the 2022 general elections, which is just 11 months from today. And also ODM party leader Raila Odinga has been traversing the mountain. No matter how high it is, has it been working for him? Has he been gaining? Or it's just an optical game? And also the One Kenya Alliance flag bearer dilemma with NC party leader Musalia Mudavadi hinting that he might pick a running mate from Mount Kenya. That and much more live here on Fact Check on the #1 TV station, Top TV. With me in the studio is a great panelist, and just to introduce them, on my right hand is none other than Emeritus President of the Multimedia University of Kenya, and also party leader, Vijana Economic Front, and presidential hopeful come 2022, Mr. Omoyo Simon Mwaranga. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Brother Masete.
How have you been? I've been looking for you, and thanks to you are here today.
Of course, our itinerary is really busy one, especially now that we are heading to elections. But I'm grateful that you are doing well, and I hope your people in Teso are doing well, aren't they?
Yeah. How are you keeping up with COVID?
COVID is something I think we are learning to live with. It's like now somebody was telling me, like when somebody has worms in their body, sometimes you don't even notice that they are there. And so we have to now live with this China virus.
There is Omoyo Mwaranga already oozing wisdom on our set level. In fact, also beside him is none other than PDG Masu Anthony, who is also the Secretary General for Vijana Economic Front, and also the leader of EFF, that is Economic Freedom Fighters. Masu, how have you been?
I've been good, and I think you should correct something there. First of all, let us thank God for giving us this opportunity to meet here again. And also, you said I'm the leader of EFF. I can be sued for that. I'm not the leader of EFF. I'm the leader of EFF Kenyan chapter. Yes, if you say I'm the leader of EFF, Malema can take me to court. So I want to give you greetings from the EFF. We have had a very successful coalition of discussions to move the continent forward. And we have had a partnership between Nairobi and Gauteng province. So there we have Comrade Molefa Sehanka, who is a senior member of EFF in Gauteng province, and we have been in liaison to concentrate the effort of liberating Africa between South Africa, Kenya, and other areas of Africa.
Okay, I get your point. And just to start us off, maybe Omoyo, I can start with you. From the past days, weeks, and let's say even months, the political scene in Kenya has been making a lot of goods and bads. From where you sit, what do you make of the standoff between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto?
I think it's a healthy standoff. In any political season, there is always that stirring of the water. And so whenever the water is stirred, then there is always waves and waves that sometimes unsettle the political environment. But we know that the bromance that existed between the two is no longer. It was but a passing cloud, and I think there were signs before it happened. And now William Ruto has to step outside the shadow of President Kenyatta. I can tell you, if William Ruto had remained loyal to President Kenyatta, he would have not been a formidable force in this coming election. And so he had to step outside his boss, create his own environment, create his own movement, which is now using to traverse this nation under the hustler narrative. And of course, we know that the government is going to change hands in a year or so. Perhaps that is why we are seeing that commotion in government.
Masoud, maybe you can expand on this from the stand of witness between DP and his boss. Do you think the option of becoming somebody's running mate, it will affect future decisions, especially in the coming 2022 general election, on who will become a running mate? Taking a look at what DP Ruto has been going through, ups and downs, GSU officers being removed from his current office, do you think it will have an impact to those who will want to be running mates of presidential candidates?
Let me give a background to that question by saying this. The marriage between Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto was built on a foundation of sand. This marriage was conceived at a time when Ruto was implicated in the ICC for crimes against humanity, and specifically, he was being charged with, attacking and killing hundreds of Kikuyus who had been living in Rift Valley, although those charges were put on hold for some time. So if you are a normal political strategist, it would be very difficult for you to get the same man into a meeting room to be the deputy for a president coming from the same tribe. Okay? But they made it happen. I don't know how they made it happen. So a house built on sand is destined to crumble like a mountain of beans. Rice. Yes, a mountain of beans. So that is what happened, and it was just a matter of time. It was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when. Moving into 2022, all candidates, because that is what politics is, what they will be considering is the impact that their deputies will be bringing on the table. They will not want to look about how their relationships will be after some time. I mean, in Kenya, you know that everyone who is working together has been with the other party before. Uhuru was in ODM. He's a life member of ODM. Ruto was is a life member of ODM. And he had a very powerful position in the ODM Pentagon in 2007 and 8. They broke off with Raila. Right now they're throwing barbs at each other. If Ruto and Uhuru break up, I mean, it's no surprise. And it will not affect the choice of deputies. What will affect the choice of deputies is the votes. If Musalia Mudavadi had a Kikuyu deputy in 2013, that Kikuyu deputy did not even give him 10 votes in his own constituency. In his own constituency. In the whole of Central region, he had almost no votes. Yet he had a deputy from there, which means it was a weak deputy.
And maybe to ask for Moyo, you'll be contesting for the presidential seat come 2022. Yes. If, let's say, you'll be running, or let's say you're in charge of the Kenyan government as you speak right now, what will you have improvised or done different that Uhuru Kenyatta is not doing right now to stem off the differences between him and his deputy?
Are you asking like if I was President Kenyatta and I had a wayward deputy?
Yeah.
I think the best thing to do is to avoid the shenanigans of my deputy and invest in my legacy. And I think President Kenyatta has noticed that. And that is why right now I think he's focused on his legacy. If you follow around, the Presidential Delivery Unit is really pushing governors, pushing ministries to finish the projects that have stalled over the period. But the thing which I would firmly do, because as a party leader, and this is not as him as president, but as the party leader, you must instill discipline in the party. ODM party is strong, not because, Raila is that powerful. No, because he instills discipline. He risked to lose Ababu Namwamba as the Secretary General. He lost Najib Balala, William Ruto, Joseph, the late Nyaga, as Pentagon members. He lost Mudavadi as a Pentagon member, a running mate, just months to election. But he remained And that is why ODM has survived for 14 years. Jubilee will not survive. And that is why actually it's crumbling on its own shell. And the way you're saying, the bromance between William and Uhuru Kenyatta, I don't think is the sweetest romantic story in politics in Kenya. I think the ODM brigade in 2006 and 7, when even Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto, Raila Odinga were in the same alliance. This, I think, was the sweetest political alliance and political romance of that time. So seeing that the two are taking different positions is actually nothing out of the planet.
Now, also coming to you, are political parties just special purpose political vehicles for elections only, and once they are elected into power, I mean, they don't mean anything. Take a look at Jubilee. It's already over, if not over. And also I can give an example of PNU, where Moi Kibaki was the party leader. I mean, what do you make of our political parties? Are they that strong and adamant to the extent that they can sustain even, let's say, 30 years? I can give an example of ODM that has been very strong. I can give credit to it since 2007 up to now. ODM is still there. So what do you make of our political parties in Kenya?
Political parties are based on a basic ideological line. That ideological line is what is followed through all its dealings with the citizens and with the government. ODM at its formation was a hustlers party. It was a unga party. It was a Mwananchi party. It was a Mafuta Taa party. Its goal was to bring the government closer to the common Mwananchi. Okay? And that is the platform on which Raila Odinga campaigned for all those years for presidential election. Most of these other parties are based on other emotional issues, okay? So say Jubilee, for example. Its bottom line was Mambo ya Badilika. There wasn't a clear catchphrase or a clear ideological point of view that was being pushed, okay? Same as NASA, okay? So for those parties that don't have a clear ideological standpoint, it is actually very difficult to sustain them, okay? But let us look at ODM, for example. The only discussion you can come up with when attacking ODM is that you are running away from your ideology because they're expected to stick to their ideology, okay? Because that is what forms a political party. Democratic Party has a clear ideology. The Republicans have a clear ideology. That is what a political party is. So as Kenyans, let us start rethinking how we formulate our parties, not just the larger manifesto, but the bottom line. What do you stand for? What is your ideology? If there is an MP who is elected through this party, that is why even EFF, which we are in partnership with right now, is pushing boundaries, and they're marching to power, okay? And we are clapping for them because we are happy. Because they have a clear bottom line. They know what they want. They want repatriation of land to Africans.
Yeah,
okay?
Now coming to you, Moyo, you're a party leader for Vijana Economic Front. What makes VF different from other political parties? What makes it to stand out?
VF is a movement that is going to liberate our country. And I am the president of that organization. And PDG Masu is our Secretary General for this movement that is going to change this country. And we are beginning slowly by slowly. And I can tell you from here where we are broadcasting from, here in Karen. Karen Ward is going to be liberated by a VF member. Langata constituency, where I hear they are trying to bring wash candidates, and I hear the Honorable Joshua Kutunyi perhaps would be coming in Langata. But I'm telling you, he is going to face a VF candidate, and our Secretary General is going to vie for Langata constituency. Now, this is our ideology, basic ideology. Let me give you a simple example. Posta Kenya is one of the largest parastatal in this country. In the United States, an equivalent of Posta is the largest earner of revenue in the government because Amazon has to use them. eBay has to use them. All these online shops have capitalized on the infrastructure that Posta Kenya uses. But what happens to our Posta in Kenya? I know you come from Trans Nzoia. Down there in Saboti, just a kilometer from your home, there is a Posta office.
Yeah.
VEF is going to ensure that we use our institutions, empower them. Like with online, the coming of the online, frenzy, some of these institutions should be doing very well. Our tourism in this country is so pathetic. And you find the tourism minister in this country posting photos of our rhinos having, I don't know what is happening with this country. But what I will do in this country is we must enforce a curriculum that will enrich patriotism in this country. You don't go to the KWS because nothing has been taught to you about our national heritage in terms of what we have in natural resources. You tell today some of your crew here to go and fight for us, recruit as GSU members to fight even in a war that is the looming war with bandits in Laikipia. They can't go because there is no patriotism. Like, our young men and women cannot fight for this country. But I want to tell them, do not give up. There is a generation that is coming, and we are the people. Wherever you are, in that small sphere that you have influence, like now you, Papa Abel Omasete, if you are to take this work that you are doing seriously, there are people watching in the United States, there are people watching outside, the African diaspora. There are people that will see what we are doing and they will invest in our plans and in our vision.
I get your point. So I was speaking to Moyo Maranga, the president of the Vijana Economic Front, and also SG, VEF, Anthony Masu, calls himself PEDJ. You can also meet us on Twitter at Top TV Kenya and also tag me at Abel Omasete, and I'll be sampling your views as the show goes on. Right now, my director is talking to me that we are due for a short break, so see you on the other side of this break.
Top TV, truth of the people.
Alright, welcome back. This is Fact Check Livia on Top TV. My name is Abel Omasete. Of course, I'm sitting in with a great panelist from VEF President Moyo Maranga and also the SG, PDJ Masu Anthony, discussing on the state of the nation. And gentlemen, to go on with the conversation, at least let's shift gears to the Mount Kenya region. Maybe Masu can begin with you. Why is everyone running to Mount Kenya? What is in that place that everyone seems to be traversing each and every week?
When the sheep are scattered, every foreign herdsman wants a share for themselves. The Mount Kenya region has no leadership as we speak. They are going to be a swing vote in this election. And as such, everybody wants a share of that fat cake. When the husband of a beautiful woman dies, the young men of the village line up to inherit her. And that is what is happening in Mount Kenya. So it is going to be a war to the drain. Raila Odinga is going to camp there. William Ruto is going to camp there. You can hear Mudavadi and there is One Kenya Alliance. They are making inroads there. They're attending Harambes there every now and then. It is just the law of nature. Nature abhors a vacuum. So it has to be filled.
Yeah, well, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a presidential hopeful in the studio, and maybe to ask him, are you going also to pick a running mate from Mount Kenya?
For me, I don't think the constituency of voters that I'm looking for define themselves by the geography in this country. I believe that I can pick a running mate from even Wajir or Garissa or Rendile or Apokot. Because our geography does not define how we are going to make this country great. Because this is the same scenario that is going to bring ethnic balkanization.
But let's face it, yes. When you assume Mount Kenya, it will hit you very badly.
Of course, I know Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya, I agree. I know Mount Kenya is that pretty girl in the village whom every man wants a dice of her time. But let me ask you, Masete. Is it not common with you that sometimes the prettiest girl is not the best? It's like having a mango tree near the road. And sometimes the bypassers will always want a piece of the meal. And so for me, I don't think I'll be going for a candidate because of the geography where they come from, if I believe that choosing Diana Marwa as my running mate, she is going to bring something to the table that will influence my generation
What is this
in a
thing
positive
you have with Diana Marwa?
No, I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing wrong with Diana Marwa. She's just somebody I feel that can have a voice, especially as we transition into the next generation of leaders. We lack females that can be able to change our society. And there are many around us. Mama Nimo Sheikh is one of the young leaders that have shown up. Oparanya's daughter is one of Winnie. She's one of the people that are going to be leaders in the next generation. And so my choices are big. If Omasete, I don't know, you have not presented your papers, but if indeed you'll have the influence. So I think generally Vijana Economic Front is going to vie on this premise. First, that we will bring patriotism back to our people. Second, that we will industrialize this country. And then thirdly, we will make education in this country one that will be able to shrug off the errors of tribalism and errors of nepotism that have taken us back.
I get your point.
Over time.
And coming to you, Masu, let's assume evaluations were held today. Of all those candidates, including a party leader, who do you think will bag most of the votes from the Mount Kenya region?
That is, I haven't been to Mount Kenya for the last several months because my political interests are not there. So that is a trapping question, and I'd choose to circumnavigate.
The only interest you have is social interest.
Yes, my interests are primarily in Langata, and I can speak for the people of Langata. We have seen some random Twitter statistics and surveys trying to find who will get the highest Mount Kenya votes. No, look at this. Anyone on Twitter is politically charged and polarized, okay? And they always say statistics don't lie, but statistics can be used to lie. So if the opinion of 300 politically charged Twitter bloggers is anything to go by, then Ruto is going to bag the majority of Mount Kenya votes. But if you need to get the actual returns from Mount Kenya, then we need to wait for the post-2020.
And remember, we have 11 months to go. Do you think that will remain constant or it will change?
We haven't had any credible opinion poll from Mount Kenya to tell us anything. I mean, they're just Twitter polls, which I'm telling you are from politically charged bloggers who are unemployed. You know, I'm a journalist who have managed bloggers. So you tell them, Omasete has posted a question on who will get the highest amount of Mount Kenya voters. Get 300 of your guys, go and vote and say Maranga is going to bag them. And that's how it works. So we don't have information on that.
Omoyo Maranga, where are you? I mean, it's all about bottom-up approach, trickle down, acceleration, dynasty. Where are the youth?
I think the youth are there, and that's why Vijana Economic Front, we're actually coming out strongly. There are people that are saying that we have not well settled, we are not the big names on screens, but I want to tell you that there is a silent majority. And this typhoon, when it will be emancipated, will go and change this country. A time is coming when politicians will come to rallies and no one will be turning up. They would rather tune in to Top TV and listen to Papa Wabelo Masete host Vijana Economic Front. But what my message to my fellow young people out there, maze sisi kama we ni dem huko mtaa, kama we ni boys huko mtaa, we angalia Ruto anasema story na bottom up. Wale wengine wanasema sijui inawezekana, hatujui ni nini inawezekana, hatujui ni nini ina bottom na ni gani iko up. The best we can do, ukianzia kule chini kwa grao, MCA wako, are you going to choose some old guy who does not understand your plight? Wewe unabuy saizi lipstick or perfume or Vaseline or Aramis, bei imepanda. Do you know that some of those things are due to the politician that we have chosen? So let us unite in our social groups in WhatsApp, in Facebook, and in Twitter, and have a conversation on who do we want to lead us, beginning from the small position, elective position of youth up to the presidency. And I'm saying, personally, I, Omoyo Maranga, God willing, will be a presidential candidate 2022. Join our website, go and look at vijanaeconomicfront.org and see our manifesto. Is it something that you can buy into? If it is not, then what is it that we can be able to change? How can we bring that sense of belonging back to our people?
Okay, Omoyo, I get your point. And also, you, dear viewer, can also continue sending in your tweets at Abelo Masete and Top TV Kenya using the hashtag FactCheck. And of course, we'll be sampling them as the show goes on. Masu, shifting to the One Kenya Alliance, they seem to have a challenge, a dilemma in identifying their flag bearer. Do you think Oka is a formidable force to watch come 2022?
Formidable where? Formidable for who?
They have Kalonzo, Gideon Moi, Musalia Mudavadi, Tangula.
I've not heard you mention votes.
I don't know, you told me that.
You have to have votes. You don't go to set out with names. You go set out with votes. Huh? So if Mudavadi has vied before in this country, we know his pedigree. Even Raila beat him in his own backyard. Kalonzo has vied before. We know that. We have Kalonzo Musyoka. We know his pedigree. And the problem with that alliance, first of all, is lack of leadership. Okay? When leadership should be projected, they project greed and lust. They don't even know who should be where, going for what. Okay? Let us look at the background of these politicians. Mudavadi has been claiming that, I can change this country, have a nice economic strategy. You've been deputy president. Mudavadi has been deputy president.
2 months only.
Yes, but he was deputy president. If he could have established, he has been a minister, he was the deputy prime minister, okay, for a whole 5 years. And a minister of finance for that time. So tell us, if you really need anything to be changed, if you are really committed to changing anything, you should have done in that moment. So One Kenya Alliance, to me, it is not a threat. First of all, there are going to be divisions. Gideon Moi is lining himself up for power, okay? Just like any other candidate. But he does not see his future there. That is why he's causing jitters within the party. KANU party is not sure if they want to sideline Raila, Uhuru, Ruto for Mudavadi. It is a very huge risk that I don't think they'll be ready to settle for right now. Wetangula is better off compared to Mudavadi even in his backyard. He can vie against Mudavadi and get more votes. I'm convinced of that. So I think I tried to call him, he didn't pick up. He should pick my phone. I tell him that actually, if he can vie as the One Kenya Alliance presidential candidate, he can bag more votes for them than Mudavadi. He can bag like 800,000 to 1.2 million. Okay, look. A leader is how you speak to people. Leadership is about how you relate to people. Anytime Mudavadi is speaking to people or is on a microphone, people are sleeping. Even his loyal people who should be listening, clapping, they are sleeping. They are not concerned. You are a journalist. You've studied communication. When you are speaking and somebody is sleeping, it means they don't care about what you're saying. It means they don't care about you. It means they are so impatient. They want to get out of there as quick as possible. Omoyo Maranga here can actually fare better as the presidential candidate for Oka than Mudavadi can do.
Okay, you've spoken about Mudavadi. Okay, let's speak about Kalonzo.
Kalonzo Musyoka, I know him. He has that ambition, and he has not brought it forward. So I don't think he's going for president. But also what I'm not sure of is if he would allow Mudavadi to pick a vice president from the central region and have him hanging there. If Mudavadi is going to commit that, which is okay, he's used to committing political tactical blunders, and is about to commit another one here, going to Mount Kenya and sidelining the likes of Kalonzo. Raila was settling for Kalonzo because he has a rich support from his backyard, and he has controlled that ground for years successfully. If Mudavadi is going to sideline him and go for a Kikuyu vice president, we won't tell him no.
Okay, I get your point. Omwe Marange will be contesting for the presidential seat, and the rest to succeed Uhuru Kenyatta as Kenya's fifth president.
Yes.
Do you think he'll beat on Kenyans? And why?
And I wish they give me Musalia Mudavadi, because as PDG has said, he does the best political lullaby. That if you would listen to his speeches, you would easily fade out and wonder whether you are in Kenya or in the Bolshevik Republic. But let me say this. I, as Omoyo Maranga, am bringing a new debate on the table. And the debate I'm bringing is that we must choose our leaders also on the pedigree of the generation that they represent. If we have been giving you leadership for all these years and you have not delivered unto us, the question we are saying is, as a generation, is there something new we can bring on the table? Omoyo Maranga may not win 2022, but I can tell you we are setting a discussion that and telling our young people wherever you are, and including your crew members, they have promised that they will vote for me. This is somewhere I've already scored more than Oka candidates or whichever candidate here. And this discussion is something, you see, a government is a large bureaucracy. You don't need an angel actually to lead this country. You don't need experience or some pseudoscience knowledge to come and lead this country. If you just ensure that this bureaucracy is integral, that this bureaucracy has honesty, that this bureaucracy is corruption-free, that this bureaucracy is less nepotic, that's all. If Omasete Ateso can come and become a director general of KFCB, and we don't politicize, say, that position and say, how comes that Ateso, who perhaps his mother is from Uganda, ruling us? If we will de-ethnicize our politics and sanitize it, I can tell you there are millions and millions of good Kenyans in this country who can lead. Let me give you an example.
As you wind up.
Yeah, as I wonder. Yeah. Do you think Papa Fred Matiang'i, the CS of Interior, but formerly Interior CS of Education, he was the best, we can say, a good CS of Education because he's Matiang'i? No. There are good men and women in the Ministry of Education who advised him, and he heeded to their advice. John Michuki, former Transport CS, was not the best that Kenya has produced of men that now he had to give us the best policies. No. It's only that he listened to the advisors. We have very intelligent minds in these bureaus of the country in various positions, but the problem is usually the political class. The political class who are dishonest, the political class who are corrupt, who do not allow hard work to be rewarded by Kenyans.
And gentlemen, we are out of time. As we wind up, maybe Masu, I want us to speak about Kenya's constitution. 11 years since it was promulgated in the year 2010. What do you make of it?
Well, I thought you were going to come about the Langata issue, but the Kenyan Constitution 2010 is a very comprehensive constitution, and there are tweaks that can always be done on it to make it nice. I mean, if you build a very strong house, it does not eliminate the chance that you might have to paint it to look very attractive. And that is why we always have constitutional amendments. Let's just give the example of Switzerland. In Switzerland, they have about 10 referendums every year, okay? And they choose the president after 1 year, okay? It's a very involving political cycle. Every citizen is involved in decision-making through that. So let us not demonize referendums, first of all. We demonized BBI. We opposed it because it did not bring anything concrete. Let me give you something concrete that I would have loved to get from BBI. Yeah. For example, as we campaign on our platform in Langata, we say Fagio la Chuma. So if BBI was bringing a Fagio la Chuma, what does Fagio la Chuma means? Fagio la Chuma means we are proposing a bill to reduce the amount of time for which corruption cases are heard. If Abel Omasete is produced in court over a case of corruption, within 1 week, that case should be determined and it should be known whether Omasete has been jailed. If found guilty for corruption, there should be no option for bail. There is no justice for injustice to other people, okay? If you are found corrupt, we should employ the tactics that have been used by countries which successfully weeded out corruption. Like when there's a former MP, I won't mention his name, was found guilty and was told to pay 500 million. For what? Take that man, shoot him in public, let him be an example. Let it be an example to people. So that is what we wanted for an amendment into the Constitution. Otherwise, if you cannot bring those radical issues that can weed out problems, then we are okay with our Constitution.
Okay, I get the point. Now coming to you, Moyo. The BBI bill, it has been thrown out of the court not once but twice.
Yeah.
What do you think of Kenya's Constitution in reference to BBI and also the court summons that especially President Uhuru Kenyatta has not been obeying, plus also a number of state officials?
I think we have one of the most progressive constitutions in our country. But as we have always said, a house you have built, the structurally built can always be redesigned. You can always add a wardrobe. You can always add where your wife can have a mirror, where it was not. And we can improve this constitution over time. There is no problem with that. The problem is with BBI, we were given BBI like polio vaccine. Like you were forced that you must drink this vaccine. It is medicine without knowing with what it's going to cure us. And that's why BBI has had a problem even in the judiciary. It has failed twice, and perhaps it may fail the third time. I think what we need as a nation, and this is where we as young people, as much as we are creating memes, as much as you're posting videos of, funny things, we need to hold the presidency to account. When you're not obeying the Constitution, let us highlight this, not only the presidency, but any person or agency in this country. We must respect our rule of law. Within the Constitution, if you act against the Constitution of this country, you are going to create anarchy. So it may not be immediate, but over time, anarchy will be the precedent.
Now, Masu, as you give us a parting shot, you can add on this question. You'll be contesting for the Langata parliamentary seat. Why Anthony Masu and not the other candidates?
Fagio la chuma. It is an iron broom to sweep illegal elements out of the way and create room for Mwananchi to be a leader. What I'm bringing on the table is not an Anthony Masu leadership. It is a leadership of the people. The people lead, and we only sit there to direct and make sure that it is done properly. Secondly, as a parliamentarian, Langata is Kenya. Langata is Africa. I'm passionate about Kenya. I'm a patriot, okay? And we want to use the Langata opportunity to give an example of what leadership should be in the country. We have aligned bills to improve every little sector of problems that you can imagine in Kenya, okay? When we will reach there, we'll cross the bridge. But just to highlight but a few, the issue of corruption, it is the biggest challenge that we are having as a country right now. I've drafted a bill already for that, okay? And the only way it is going to be presented to Parliament, the easiest way, is to get a position in Parliament with a majority that is tired of corruption, like the Langata constituents who are tired of corruption, who don't have access to clean water, who don't have access to reliable electricity, who don't have access to proper education. There are other schools in Mugumoini that don't even have basic necessities. And by correcting these things and weeding out these elements of dirty leadership, that is the only way we are changing Langata, we are changing the country, and we are changing Africa.
I get your point. Now, finally coming to the General Economic Front Party leader, Moyo Simon Maranga. Of course, we will be contesting for the presidential seat in the coming next 11 months. Now, Moyo, as the head of the executive, as the head of government, as the commander-in-chief, what will you do different if elected, unlike other, or rather, let's say, you are the predecessors? who have served against you, that is, as in before you, that is, if you will be elected, what different will you do from other presidents?
My mantra will be visit Kenya. Visit Kenya. I'm speaking to the black diaspora from Brazil in Holo Belezonte to Canada to Australia. Visit Kenya. Papa Abelo Masete, our largest foreign income earner in this country is people from the diaspora. It is not even agriculture now. Now, what I'll be pushing is that we must speak to our black Africans, whether you are a native by Africa, but as long as you are dark-skinned like me, an Ethiopian. The Bible says, can an Ethiopian change his skin? If you are in Brazil, if you're in Jamaica, if in your Barbados, come and invest in Kenya. Once we get into power, this will be our clarion call, both in our tourism, both in our ICT sector, in our transport sector, in our agriculture. Bring those billions. We have a lot of land in Kenya. Over 90% of land in Kenya is unused, totally unused. And these are resources that can make us great in this nation. Here in Kajiado, where you are broadcasting from, Kajiado is almost empty. But what if we had the billions invested by our African people in the diaspora, whether you are a Kenyan, whether you are a Zambian, a Gambian, a Jamaican, a British, come and invest in this beautiful part of Kenya. We call it the Black Savannah.
Okay, that is his parting shot. But Omoyo, earlier you stated that you are broadcasting from Karen, now you're in Kajiado. But anyway,
it's both. You understand that
fine.
We are separated by a small river, but it's almost the same area.
Okay, thank you very much, dear viewer, for keeping us company. And of course, your tweets are coming in very thick and fast. But
And by the way, join Vijana Economic Front.
I really do asking of questions. So thank you very much for keeping us company. Also on behalf of those, our cameraman and director who have made this program possible, I want to say thank you very much. Remember, we do this every week live here on Top TV. In the next 25 minutes, Capital Desk is up next. You want to know where you can best invest your money. My name is Abel Colonel Omasete. Gracias.